Hey all, and in this video I'm going to be looking at some of the more advanced features of OGame X. I touched on this game in a previous video, but only checked out the basics, so this will show some of the other features of the game that I didn't really check out in the previous video. So this is what my account looks like. It's very difficult to get a position 8 planet now, so this is what my positions of the planets look like. There are a few position 7s and 6s, also a couple of 10s and 11s. Going for slot 15 was a mistake as the planet was really small, but you can actually buy an unlimited amount of planet fields from the shop. You can use this as many times as you want on a planet, but only once in 96 hours, so it doesn't matter too much on what size planet you get. You can also use the terraformer as well to increase the planet size. That's something I thought I would mention to start with. It says a bit more about this in the wiki over here. Planet slots and colonisation. You can see here the best positions are 7, 8 and 9. The other positions are smaller as you go up or down. The bonuses are different from each of the positions though. That's where I really wanted to be going, but because most of the planet slots are full now, it's very difficult to get those positions. But there we go, that's what I would go for if I was starting in a new universe. Try and get all of my planets in 7, 8 or 9. Okay, so let's go out of there. So what I have done, if we go over to fleet, is I have set a couple of fleet groups, an expo fleet and a farming fleet. If we go over to the fleet groups, this one is basically for farming expeditions. I just send all of that split across normally 9 expeditions. Then the farming fleet is for farming inactives. I will change both of these fleets though as the game progresses. They're quite small compared to what I could be using. These two features though are incredibly useful, and as I progress with the video, if you've not seen these in action, you will see why they are so useful. The first thing I'm going to do is a multi-expedition. Now this is really good. Just click multi-expedition, and then the fleet group that you saw, the expedition fleet, will be used for this. And then just click send fleet, and that's it. 9 expeditions are going. It's as simple as that really, and that takes seconds to do, so that's something that's really cool and I like a lot from this version of OGame, and I really would like to have seen in the original OGame. You can also collect all of the fleet from your planets. You can also collect all the resources as well, which is really useful. If we go over to the fleet page, the gather fleets page here, now I don't really have too much fleet on my other planets, so what I'll do is just do this. There we go, and that should now be collecting all the fleet that was on my other planets onto the moon I am currently at. And that saves quite a bit of work if you are building ships or probes on other planets. If we go over to the shipyard on one of my other planets, everything can be built quickly apart from spy probes. You can only build 1 unit per second, so what I could do here is build probes across all of my planets, then collect them up when they're done. Other ships you can see here, you can create tons of units in a second. Probes though you can't, unfortunately. Well, not at this stage anyway. So this is something that has a lot of uses then basically. But the main use I think is for building spy probes across all planets, then collecting them up. Or you could also build cargoes across all of your planets and collect them up. Again though, it's a really useful feature and something I like a lot. So I'm going to do the same with the resources now, collect up all the resources from all of my planets. Really easy to do. Select all, and then I'll select the moon as well and collect resources, and that should now be gathering all the resources up onto the moon I am currently at. There we go, if we scroll here, fleets have been sent to all of the planets and moons and they're now gathering all the resources off the planets and moons, and will take it all back to the moon I'm currently at. Plus it sends the correct amount of cargoes for each planet and moon. This is a really clever feature and so useful as well for cleaning off all of your planets and moons before going offline. Saves a lot of work. I haven't really used the other two features much yet. There's distribute resources. You can basically send resources to every single planet and moon if you wanted to. I just tend to work on one planet at a time here though, so I've not really needed that yet. And then there's also the gather resources. If ships are already on a planet, the ships will be sent to the current moon or planet you are on with the resources, as far as I know. It's not something I've tested out yet, but you get the idea. Very similar sort of features, also very useful in certain situations. So I'm going to talk a bit about building up a planet now. Obviously you want to get your mines as high as possible. One thing you do want to do quite early though is build the maximum amount of crawlers on each planet. So I'll just deploy my res across to the planet. It only takes a few seconds to reach here, as you can see here. And when it's here, there we go. What I'll do now, with the crawlers, all you have to do is click max and then it does it like that. That's the maximum amount of crawlers you can build. With the solar satellites, you're going to need a rather large amount. I think 9 million's probably enough. And then for defense, well, defense is kind of useless in OGame X, especially as there's a 5% defense to debris. Now you should build some defense to protect your crawlers and solar satellites. There's not much point in building solar power plants. Have a look at this, they don't really produce any energy. Not much point building fusion reactors either, as the cost just gets too expensive. It's so cheap to build solar satellites. Even the large amount I put on there, 9 million, hardly cost any of my resources, so I don't see any reason to build the other types of energy production and just build the solar satellites like I'm doing. If you do get hit, then they are very quick to replace anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I'll go back to the defense page though. I think build the maximum amount of these units. Here we go, I'll do this. The orbital defense platform sometimes destroys a few ships. If someone attacks you with a large amount of Reapers though, none of this really does anything, so it's just being built to try and protect those crawlers really. You don't want to leave any resources or fleet on a planet, otherwise it will likely get crashed. So there we go, I've pretty much finished queuing up defense. That might seem like a lot, but it's really not. It's just basically to protect the crawlers and solar satellites, and that's about it really. A lot of players just play with zero defense. If they lose their solar satellites or crawlers, they just rebuild them instantly anyway. Doesn't take much to rebuild them at a later stage. But that's something I thought I would do quickly anyway. So I am now in an alliance. They did actually send me a welcome pack here when I joined, so this is a really good alliance to join. DMX, one of the mining alliances. You can see here the last miners. I'm near the bottom though, unfortunately. I will progress fast though. I'm sure I can get near to the top 100 quickly here. Sometimes there are events as well that can be really useful. 100% scrap event is currently on, so I could sell any ships I wanted to and get the full price back for them. And that's really good if I have been farming expeditions and don't really need the fleet that I have found. The most important event though is the Inactive Farming event. When that pops up, it's just basically farm like crazy, attack everything inactive, and just hope for the best basically. What I've done is probed some inactives. If you remember earlier on, I showed you a farming fleet that's called a Plunder fleet. If we go through the inactives that I've just probed, some of them have decent res on. If I want to attack this inactive with the fleet I've set up, all I have to do is that, and then a fleet is sent to that inactive. So let's do that on anything that has a reasonable amount of resources. I can also do that more than once if I want to. And this is an incredibly useful way to get resources. Probably the most important way at this stage in the game. When the inactive farming event is on though, I'm not even going to bother to probe. I'm just going to go through everything and attack and hope for the best. If I lose a few cargoes, well, it's only going to take me a few seconds to rebuild them. I do have to be a bit careful of the ones I probe though. I don't want to send a plunder fleet to a target that has defense on. You can see here they all have fleet 0, defense 0, so perfectly okay to farm these. And this is basically what I've been doing to gain my rank relatively fast. It's extremely effective. I've nearly filled up all of my fleet slots actually. That's something I want to be a bit careful of, just in case someone does decide to try and attack me. I need to be able to move my fleet off the moon quickly. There we go, max fleet slots exceeded. So it's probably a good idea to stop at this point, as I have 51 missions currently going. So there we go, I think that's most of the cool features I didn't feature in the previous video that I wanted to go over here. Would have been really useful if some of these were added to the original OGame as well. I can't see that happening, but it would be good. There are some simulators down here as well. I'll just bring these up quickly. What I'm going to do is make up a fake battle, so to speak, just to show you how useless defense is. Then you'll all see why I'm not overly keen on building defense. So what I've done here is copied all my techs over to the defender. Then I've put a large amount of reapers as the attacking ships. For defense I've put all of this, quite a lot, but if I simulate that, you can see here the attacker automatically wins and takes 0 losses. So defense is really not that useful, unfortunately. I know it would cost quite a bit of deuterium to launch all of this, but still, yeah, I'm not overly keen on building defense and probably won't focus too much on it. Plus, you can see here, defense debris is 5% as well. And if we go over to the shipyard, I'll need to go onto the planet. Let's go over to Reapers, there we go. The Reapers take 40% of the total debris if they have the room. So someone can just launch Reapers at your defense and take 40% of the 5% debris, so to speak, and there's not really too much you can do about it. Right, so I have actually finished my officers. You can see here, these are permanent once you have upgraded them, and should be one of the first things you do, if I'm being honest. You do get an extra 3 planets as well from this. You can see here, all the officers have reached their maximum level. Just go through all of these quickly. There we go. The other thing you may need to purchase with your dark matter is the planet field items. The bronze level works out cheapest, but you have to wait 96 hours before you can use another one. They get more expensive as the rarity goes up. But if you are looking to save dark matter, it is most cost effective just to get the bronze one, then repeatedly use it after 96 hours, or of course just build a terraformer if you can. That's the other solution if you are low on fields. I have done quite a bit of work on the academy, quite a few texts here. These domes are not exactly useful text. Defense recovery, I guess I'll upgrade that to 20 while I'm here. That's useful. That's definitely useful. That's relatively useful, I guess. That's definitely useful. Yeah, they're all pretty useful apart from the shield domes, basically, and defense. So this is what I'd recommend doing with a minor skill tree, focusing on all of these, including that one there, I guess, but not bothering too much with these two here. That's just my opinion, though. You are free to disagree. And if we go over to the merchant, don't forget your import-export box as well. Going to need to go back onto the moon to get this. There we go. Well worth getting these boxes. What's in the container? Let's find out. Okay, that's actually a very useful item. I can queue up a bunch of mines, then just use that on this planet here, and that will save waiting for a while for them all to complete. And there we go. I think we're about done with this video. I hope that was interesting. As always, if you do have any questions or suggestions regarding this, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to help. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is always very much appreciated. I've included my first OGame X video on the screen. Check that out if you want to do so. There's also a playlist with both OGame and OGame X videos in. You can also subscribe from here if you want to do so. And thanks for watching.